How's it going, everybody? I'm the big guy. I am the one and only, the only one. The best there is, the best there ever was. I am. There is no one before me, and there is no one after me. Therefore, I am the only one. Jacoby, the big guy. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got an interesting week this week for you with the news of the week, followed by your SmackDown and Raw reviews. It was actually a good week in wrestling. Then, of course, we have a classic pay-per-view review. It is Elimination Chamber month, so we will have an Elimination Chamber review of 2017 when I actually first started watching wrestling, funny enough. Then we will have a drink of the week, followed by a reading from the Book of Rules. And, of course, everybody's favorite Battle Droid of the week. Let's get into the news, as is Elimination Chamber Goldberg's final match. For those of you who don't know, Goldberg has made a formal challenge to Roman Reigns to wrestle him at Elimination Chamber for the Universal Championship. So, is this Goldberg's last ride? Goldberg is unsure if it is. He has a couple matches left on his contract, but he is ready for this match, and he is ready to end it if it is the end. But he would like to continue wrestling. I don't know whether I'd be happy or sad if he comes back, because I don't feel he's doing damage to his legacy, but I feel it's starting to get to the point of like, okay, it's time to start wrapping it up here. I don't know. By the way, here's our next story. Who does Paul Heyman see as one of the future stars on SmackDown Live? Well, according to Paul Heyman on a After the Bell podcast, Corey Graves' podcast, he said that he views Riddick Moss as a future top-tier star. He said Riddick Moss is going to be a star. I don't think anyone has a clue how capable he is. He has demonstrated he could walk into any personality at any moment that he is assigned. He sees Riddick Moss as a main eventer. I could see that if they stopped selling him with these gimmicks. I think he was kind of screwed with the 24/7 gimmick, and I think he was kind of screwed with the one he's in now, the Madcap Moss gimmick. I don't like it, but that's just me. You know, I get that he's starting to get some very big character development here, working with Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin, Baron Corbin, whatever you want to call him. Because Baron Corbin has worked with several stars throughout his era, worked with Seth Rollins, worked with Dean Ambrose, worked with Kurt Angle. He's worked with them all. He worked with Braun Strowman. He's worked with everyone of this new era to come in and really help him out. I'll call it of the Authority era, because this is really where Authority has reigned instead of the Universe. I hope that next we get in the Universe area, where it's all the WWE Universe making the decisions, like they promised. But, well, what we gonna do? But if Madcap Moss is a future main eventer, I'm still waiting to see that talent show up. And now, finally, big congratulations to former WWE wrestlers Keith Lee and Mia Yim, who were married the other day. Apparently, Mick Foley he officiated the wedding, so that's a little nice tidbit. A lot of WWE wrestlers attended, including some free agents and some other wrestlers now, such as Shelton Benjamin, who are still wrestling for WWE. It's clear they all still have friends in the WWE, and it's very clear that they are still beloved in the wrestling community. So, congratulations to them on finally tying the knot and getting married. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into your SmackDown review for this week. SmackDown kicked off with the Tribal Chief, the Bloodline, and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman said he made a mistake when he said he needed to protect Roman Reigns from Brock Lesnar, and that he got Superman punched for his mistake, and that he is very happy to be back with the Tribal Chief. And Brock Lesnar sure looks like a schmuck now. Heyman said there will be no title for title at WrestleMania, and it will be Brock Lesnar will have to acknowledge Roman Reigns. And then out of nowhere, as Roman goes to say, acknowledge me, Goldberg. The music hits. The legend, the Hall of Famer, Goldberg comes out and says, I acknowledge you as my next victim. Because at the Elimination Chamber, you and me for the Universal Championship, and then looks Roman dead in the eyes and says those two words no superstar ever wants to hear. You're next. So it looks like we will get Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship at the Elimination Chamber. And I'm excited. You know what? It's going to be a quick match. We know that Goldberg doesn't get paid by the hour. He does get paid by the minutes he spends in the ring. He gets paid for appearances. So we know it's going to be a short match. But I'm actually excited because, you know, his last match with Bobby Lashley was actually one of his best matches since coming back after his feud with Brock Lesnar. So I'm excited for that. After this, we got Ricochet versus Ridge Holland in a singles match. Ridge Holland looking for a little revenge on Ricochet after Ricochet broke his nose by a complete accident. Ricochet would pick up the win in what looked to be a little botched finish, but, you know, the Sheamus, Cesaro, and Ricochet both kind of made up for it. They're all like, okay, let's just jump them. And then we got Ridge Holland joining in, and it turns into a tag team match where Sheamus and Ridge Holland pick up the win over Cesaro and Ricochet in a nice little tag team match. After this, we got a singles match with SmackDown champion Jimmy Uso versus Eric of the Viking Raiders, of their number one contenders at the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be the Usos versus the Viking Raiders. So that could be a fun one. That could be a little fun match. So it was a quick little thing. Eric really didn't have any chance of winning this, it felt like, and that really sucks because it really spoils the end for Elimination Chamber in my mind. It really shows that the Viking Raiders are just going to be squashed at Elimination Chamber in my opinion. So Jimmy Uso picks up the win here, and that hurt. After this, we got Aaliyah versus Natalya in a rematch, and Aaliyah would win this match by count out. So shout out to Aaliyah continuing her winning streak over Natalya. And then we got Drew McIntyre saying he came out and he says he worked his ass off after doctors told him he wouldn't be able to return time for WrestleMania 38. Drew rehabbed 3 times a day, 6 days a week to return within a month like John Cena time. So bravo, Drew McIntyre. And then Happy Corbin came out and asked Drew if he was ready to return after he attacked him. Madcap Moss tried to come in at the end, but Drew McIntyre was ready, man. Eyes in the back of his head. He's seen a horror movie. He pulls out his sword and says, one more move, and there's going to be blood in the arena. He then made for Madcap Moss to tell him a joke, which made him laugh, and then he Claymore kicked the shit out of Madcap Moss and swore to make Baron Corbin's life a living hell. So that's pretty funny. It's gonna end up being apparently there now will be a match between Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre at Elimination Chamber. After this, we got Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal in a singles match. Shinsuke was able to pick up that final win that he's never really gotten over Jinder Mahal after all the shit that he went through in the WWE Championship race versus Jinder Mahal. You know, all the shit that went down with the very, let's just call them bad promos. Not going to go into what they were. But he finally picked up the win. Then it was announced that in 2 weeks, Sami Zayn will have his Intercontinental Championship match. So, not this coming Friday, but the Friday right before Elimination Chamber, he will have a match for the Intercontinental Championship. After that, it was announced by Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce that Naomi will face Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship next week after Naomi tried to fight Sonya Deville once again. So, that was a little fun little thing. I like to see Charlotte Flair versus Naomi. They have good chemistry. They've done that before. So I'm very happy to see this match. After this, we got the New Day with Big E and Kofi Kingston versus Los Lotharios. It's very fun to see Big E with the New Day again, and he is officially on SmackDown, but it sucks because apparently that is going to be the end of his singles run, which I don't see. I could see him now going for a Intercontinental Championship and maybe being a challenger for Roman Reigns' Universal Championship in the future. And then in your main event for the evening, we have Ronda Rousey. Sonya Deville said that Ronda Rousey has chose Becky Lynch as her WrestleMania opponent, but Rousey came out and said this is not true, and that she looked at Charlotte and said, "I'll see you at WrestleMania, bitch." And Charlotte then held up her title and said, "This is my baby, and mine's prettier than your baby." After Ronda attacked them both, Ronda removed Sonya's jacket, and Sonya tried to stop her from getting physical. But Charlotte tried to punch Rousey. She ducks it. Sonya tries to get involved. I don't know. I guess she's just a Charlotte Flair goon now instead of an authority figure. And she gets put in an armbar for her troubles by Rousey. And that closes the show as Rousey stands tall. A good SmackDown, not a great. I'm giving it a B. You know, it was fun to come off of the Royal Rumble like that and have Rousey make her challenge. So now we know who both people are facing at WrestleMania. And it's funny because it continues the streak of the men's and women's champion always choosing the same brand. They have never gone against each other. The first year it was Asuka and Shinsuke Nakamura going for the WWE Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship, which were on SmackDown. Second year, it was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch going for the Raw Women's Championship and Seth Rollins going for a Universal Championship that was on Raw. Then at WrestleMania 36, it was Bianca Belair going for the SmackDown Women's Championship and Edge going for the Universal Championship, which were both on SmackDown. So it's very funny to see that when you start looking at it, you're like, okay, yeah. But also, only one time have they gone after the Raw Championship. They have not, since both Royal Rumbles have been introduced, they've only gone once for the Raw Championship and 4 times for the SmackDown Championship. So I just find that funny. See, I do know some things, ladies and gentlemen. After this, we got the Quiz Bowl on Raw. So into your Raw review, it kicked off with the Quiz Bowl between RK Bro and Alpha Academy, the final segment in these 3 academic challenges to prove that RK Bro is worthy of being the number 1 contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And this was actually very funny. They both tied 1-1 in the counting for the academic challenges. RK Bro winning the spelling bee and Alpha Academy winning the scooter race. It was very funny. This was way better. I think this, if you're going to line it up, it goes this segment, spelling bee, and then scooter race for the best to worst for a segment. So they're clearly ending this on a high. And everyone was saying, even people